The following video is for educational purposes only, based on publicly available information. It is not legal advice, and all opinions expressed are our own. Viewer discretion is advised. In this episode, we are covering the eye-opening case of Ford Senga Olunga versus Mumias Sugar Co Limited, where the claimant filed a suit challenging his retirement at the age of 55, claiming it violated protections for persons with disabilities. Let's find out what the court decided and what HR practices could have helped avoid this situation. The storyline. The claimant, Ford Senga Olunga, was employed by Mumias Sugar Co Limited in 1984 as a harvesting clerk and rose to the position of supervisor in the agronomy section. The claimant sustained a workplace injury in 1996, resulting in a permanent disability. In 2012, he was formally certified as a person with disabilities. Despite notifying the employer of this status, he was retired at the age of 55 in 2013 under the company's standard retirement policy, rather than the extended retirement age of 60 to 65 for persons with disabilities under the Persons with Disabilities Act. The claimant sought an extension of his retirement age based on his disability status. The employer retired him on July 1, 2013, arguing they were unaware of his disability status prior to issuing the retirement notice. The claimant filed suit in 2015, seeking declarations that his retirement was unlawful, reinstatement to his position, back pay, and damages for wrongful termination. Both parties presented evidence and submissions. The court examined whether the claimant's disability status and the timing of its notification invalidated the retirement decision. The judgment. The court found that Ford Senga Olunga was unlawfully retired by Mumias Sugar Co Limited at the age of 55, a decision that violated his rights as a person with disabilities. Under the Persons with Disabilities Act, individuals with disabilities are entitled to work until they reach the age of 60 to 65. The company failed to honor this provision, instead retiring him at the standard retirement age of 55. Key legal points. The Persons with Disabilities Act, specifically Section 15(6), mandates that persons with disabilities are entitled to a minimum retirement age of 60 years, which the claimant was entitled to. The court emphasized that disability is not bound by strict timelines for reporting, noting that the Act does not impose a time limit on when an employee must notify their employer of their disability status. Therefore, the claimant's delay in notifying the employer did not invalidate his entitlement to a later retirement age. The court awarded the claimant compensation for unlawful termination. This was based on the unlawful retirement, which deprived him of the opportunity to work for an additional 10 years. The compensation was calculated as 12 months' salary at the last gross amount of 95,750 Kenya shillings and 80 cents, resulting in a total award of 1,149,009 shillings and 60 cents. The court found this amount fair and just, acknowledging that while reinstatement was no longer an option due to the lapse of time, more than 3 years since retirement, the claimant deserved compensation for the unlawful termination of his employment. The claimant was effectively denied an extended working period that he would have been entitled to if his disability had been recognized appropriately at the time of his retirement. In addition to the compensation, the court issued declarations. A declaration that the claimant was unlawfully retired without the benefits of the Persons with Disabilities Act, which should have extended his retirement age to between 60 to 65 years. A declaration that the claimant is a person with a disability and as such should have been retired according to the disability scheme, which allows for a later retirement age. The court declined the claimant's request for reinstatement, as more than 3 years had passed since his retirement. Section 12(3)(7) of the Employment and Labor Relations Act precludes reinstatement after a period of 3 years post-termination. Key legal principles. Key legal principles discussed: disability and retirement age. The court reinforced the principle that once an individual is certified as a person with a disability, they are entitled to a later retirement age under the Persons with Disabilities Act. The law recognizes the challenges faced by people with disabilities, and extending their working years acknowledges these challenges. Delay in asserting rights. The respondent argued that the claimant's delay in notifying them about his disability status should bar his claim. However, the court rejected this defense, emphasizing that there are no specific timelines mandated by the Act for informing employers about a disability. It is the employer's responsibility to respect the rights of employees with disabilities, regardless of the timing of notification. The concept of unlawful termination. The court defined the unlawful termination of the claimant's employment as the wrongful application of the standard retirement policy without considering his disability status, which entitled him to work for an additional 10 years. Analysis and key insights. Key learning points. Employers must establish clear procedures for employees to declare disabilities and ensure they comply with labor laws. Periodic audits of employment practices can help identify gaps in compliance with specific statutes, such as the Persons with Disabilities Act. Best practices for organizations. Organizations are advised to create an accessible and confidential process for employees to disclose disabilities. It is important to regularly update employee records to reflect any changes in their status. Train HR teams on the rights and protections of persons with disabilities under the law. Key lessons for HR professionals. Documentation and proactive communication are critical in avoiding disputes. Human resources must maintain updated knowledge of employment laws to ensure organizational policies are compliant. Conclusion. To recap, this case emphasizes the importance of adhering to legal protections for employees, especially those with disabilities. Proactive communication, proper record keeping, and compliance with labor laws can prevent costly disputes. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this case. What are your key takeaways, and do you have insights on how similar issues can be handled better? Share your perspectives in the comments section. If you found this discussion helpful, give it a thumbs up and share it with others. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss out on valuable HR insights and employment law breakdowns.